Sometimes I get all excited about, like, let's do this, and she's like, we gotta talk about this. So she'll bring me back down a notch, and then we talk about it. But it helps our relationship because sometimes I'll just be so gung-ho about something that it's like, I won't think about talking about it, and then other times she wants to do something where I end up researching it for the next 5 years. And so we're getting used to more of the talking things through.
Okay.
To try and balance that stuff out.
What about you guys with friendships? Have you found a friend or maybe a family member that you've been able to form a meaningful relationship that you can go to for support?
Yes.
Can you share a little bit about that?
Oh, Matt. Matt's a good friend that I always know he's got my back. You can count on him.
So that's what a good friend does. They've got your back and you can count on them. Thank you for sharing, Ethan.
Welcome.
I'd like us to do this activity really quickly as we're getting ready to wrap up. Just 3 more.
Oh, you gotta do our own.
Okay. And here's some pens in the middle of the coffee table here. We're going to take just about 1 minute to do the relationship scale, which is the first activity, to get kind of a check. We've described how we feel about relationships. We've kind of talked about what positive and negative relationships can do from our perspective, and I just want to get you guys to really examine how your relationships are going right now. This is a scale from 1 to 5, pardon me. And it's rating your relationships with friends, siblings, parents and or family, girlfriend, boyfriend or spouse, and teachers.
So just do the scale for right now?
Yep, we're just going to do the scale. Everyone finished? Okay, after completing the scale, is it a little different than what you thought it might be after? No?
Nope.
So, as you're examining each of these relationships, you just quickly able to put everything and you knew that everything was all shipshape or horrible or whatever it was?
Mm-hmm.
Was this activity kind of hard for anyone? Did you kind of have to put a low score where you didn't want to or where you thought you wouldn't have to?
Teachers.
I think
Yes.
it's pretty straightforward. But
Jolene,
yeah.
just wait a second. We're gonna have Jolene share.
Well, just
And then
my
we'll go to you.
my lower score was my teachers because I have a problem with the teacher who doesn't want to give me the grade that I or the whole entire class deserves. So it causes a lot of conflict and struggle.
Tension.
Yes.
What were you saying?
It's okay. I'll pass this one.
Would anyone be willing to share a higher or a lower score? I know Jolene shared there was a lower score for teachers. That's okay.
I think everything's going pretty well with my friends right now. They're pretty supportive, and I get to hang out with a group of them a couple weeks ago. It was a lot of fun. We had a good time.
This activity takes you 30 seconds, and I think it's kind of a good indicator when you're sitting back and examining your relationship. If you can keep a mental check of these things maybe once a week, and you want to bring something like that back to this discussion support group, I think that would be beneficial. And the second chart that I have on this page for you guys is the relationship bank account. And a bank account is kind of a good way to think about your relationships, because when you are acting this way, when you are having commitment, honesty, trust, supporting someone, giving something of yourself, that is like a deposit in your bank. And you want lots of deposits because then you have a lot of money in a regular bank account. But if you make a lot of withdrawals, like breaking promises, gossiping, or breaking confidences, I know we talked about that today, being arrogant, or not having clear expectations, or maybe even false expectations about what you're going to get in this certain friendship or out of this certain relationship, those would all be withdrawals. And if you make too many withdrawals, you're going to go in the red, you're going to go in the hole, and nobody wants to be emotionally bankrupt because you might have to go visit Valley Hospital or Fort Wood or somewhere where who? Where you're just too stressed and you can't keep it together anymore. So that's why it's important to keep a positive balance in your relationship bank account. So you can just keep this paper, think about it over the next week, and I would just like to encourage you guys as we're finishing up to take your relationship seriously, learn from each other. You guys, we're forming a nice group where we can talk about things. We can call each other and say, you know, we talked about this in group and I'm just not feeling good about it right now. And I want you guys to feel like you can do that. And with me, anytime, if you don't feel comfortable with calling one of the other group members, I want you to be able to call me and talk about these things. Use your relationships to help and not hinder your college experience, because we talked about some ways that they can really be negative. And post this list somewhere visible on your refrigerator, on the mirror in your bathroom, and keep assessing the deposits and withdrawals you're making from your relationships over the coming week. And I think it'll be interesting.
Say about this bank account stuff, just because you're putting in a lot of deposits doesn't mean that you necessarily can start making some withdrawals.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
You know, oh, I've been so loyal to them, I think I'm gonna
Break a promise.
break a confidence this time.
Yeah.
You know?
This is a savings account. You only want to put deposits. And I think your friends will be there for you when you
I'm
need
good at
them.
those.
I know.
All right. Thank you guys so much for participating in group, and we will see you next time.